Morning, everybody. 8:25 a.m. It is April 1st. April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day. Now, yesterday, the markets opened, pushed up a little bit, sold off, made a new low, and then we were just ranging. Really, market wasn't super strong. The internals, and I got into a short that I wanted to get into. All right, because it looked like we swept the overnight highs in the previous day's highs, and I had about 26 points of excursion in my short, looking for the low of day. And usually I would go to break even, but yesterday I was kind of confident, even if it came back to my entry. Um, and then when it was back at my entry, I heard a little birdie in my ear. I listened to a squawk box in my ear, and it said, "Iran says they're open to making a deal, but there has to be some guarantees or something like that." And I was short with one of my community members, good friend of mine, and I was like, "Okay, that's not good for our short." Now, usually when we hear news like that, you see a big candle like "Buh!" like that. You didn't see it, and I'm like, "That's weird. We didn't react." But then we did, and then I got stopped. So from being 26 points up to taking a loss, kind of sucks on news. News finally got me. Um, so that was it, and then the market just went up based on that news. And this was the first time we were hearing that Iran was open to making a deal. Not we're not talking. And it just was weird how it was delayed from when I heard it. So now we're pulling back a little bit now, but we were just up. And I said this yesterday, we're ready for a rally, right? Yesterday I showed these daily charts in particular, where I said the anchored VWAP right here, that anchored VWAP from 2025, they're very important because that's the average buyer from last year, beginning of last year. So look like it's defended its position. Okay, so now we're up again. I don't think we still have a clear picture of what's going to happen. Okay. Now, Trump is scheduled to make an announcement tonight at 9 p.m. about the war. Now, what he's talking about lately is he doesn't even need a deal. He might just be exiting. We don't get, I think we get 1 or 2% of our oil from there. It doesn't really hurt America. Okay, that's why Brent crude is like higher than Wex's WTI, Texas Intermediate, West Texas Intermediate. So Brent is more like European uses that oil. So who knows what's going to happen, right? That's what I'm saying. I guess Trump is kind of saying, hey, we don't need our oil from there. So we did what we were supposed to do. We can pull out, and then the rest of the countries can figure out what they want to do with the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't know, right? All I know is I said this market was ready for a rally. It just took a little bit of a catalyst, right? Now crude is down today, 1.84%. Now the reason also, just to give you some color on my short from yesterday, energy and crude were up yesterday. And I was like, all right, if nothing comes out, we should at least range today, right? And I thought maybe we might tag the rest, the lows and even farther based on, but then that news came out, right? And what are you going to do? You really can't do much about that. Okay. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Stephen Gonzalez. I use market profile, volume profile to find structure of markets. Along with supply and demand, gamma exposed levels the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Once that market opens up, I use my market internals. Throw a little ICT, smart money concepts in there. Okay. Anchor view ops and the weekly expected move indicator that you can get for free on my Discord. Okay. Now, hopefully you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market story, the economic calendar, the market news, the leaders and the laggards, technical analysis, and I give you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures later on in the stream. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Let me be your indicator. I will not steer you wrong. Okay? So, let's get right into the futures watch list here. We got some metal strength here. Gold leading the pack, up 1.90%. Ethereum up 1.69. Bitcoin up 1%. Nasdaq up 0.91. Russell up 0.66. ES up 0.65. The Dow's up 0.56. Silver up 0.36. 30-year bonds being sold. 10-year yield down 0.16. Dollars down 0.48. Crude down 1.88%. Down to 99. It's under $100 a barrel now. VIX down to 24.56. Okay. Now, since our market's so volatile, tomorrow is the last trading day for this week, right? Spring break is here. Like, this week is spring break for my daughter. Unfortunately, she's sick. However, I know some people have spring break next week. I don't know how that plays into the volume because we're pretty volatile. Of people leaving early for vacation for Easter, who knows? Tomorrow might have more of that effect. We'll see. All right, let's move on. Mag 7 Plus. Tesla leading the pack, up 2%, 2.11. AMD up 2%. Broadcom up 1.71. Coinbase up 1.60. Boeing up 1.5%. Microsoft, I added to that position in my portfolio, so I'm happy with that. Google up 1.26. GE up 1. Nvidia up 1%, Meta's up 1%. Man, I almost added to my Meta position, but I wanted to drop a little farther. And actually, it's hit its expected move for the week, Meta. So interesting there. Netflix up 0.36. There's nothing down. Okay. Now, top sectors. So the miners, the Newport McMahon stock, up 3.08%. Oracle up 2.5%. Palantir up 1.79. GE Vernova, that's my baby, up 1.16. United Healthcare up almost 1%. Now, lagging. There you go, folks. Energy. Chevron almost down 2%. Exxon down 2.5%. Sectors. Semis are leading the pack. That usually means risk on in the markets. Up 1.39%. Technology up 1.28. Industrials up 0.79. Laggard, energy, down almost 2.5%. So energy is the laggard, semis are the leader. Do we get a rip, roar, and rally up today? Even more, like a follow-through day? Who knows? I don't know. What I think is what Trump says tonight at 9 p.m. I only think we'll most likely have the markets go up. But that's just doesn't mean anything what I think. But I think that he understands that talking about leaving and stuff like that, I think he understands that this is not a great look right now. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay? Now we're going to get over to the economic calendar for today. We do have some data coming out. All right. So, 30-year mortgage came out today. It went up. Previous 6.43. Now it's at 6.57. That's that 10-year yield. ADP employment change today. Consensus 40K. Oh, actually better. Retail sales came out this morning. Now we have Fed speak today. Fed Muslim at 9:05, Fed bar at 9:13. So hopefully they're done before the market opens. But then you have at 10 a.m. you have ISM manufacturing PMI, business inventories, ISM manufacturing employment. Then crude inventories at 10:30, and then there you go, 9 p.m. speech by President Trump. Okay, let's look at his schedule today. Let's just refresh this. So for today, let's see, President and executive time. Let's see, 10 a.m. President attends Supreme Court oral arguments. 12:30, President participates in an Easter lunch. Uh, 3 p.m. President participates in a policy meeting, and then 9 p.m. is that speech to America. Okay, at 9 p.m. Okay, let's see if there's anything here. If there's a stock roundup or anything else, we'll just move on. Yep. Financial juice. There's nothing really here. Let's see the Fed. Nope. Okay. See here. Let's see. Trump says U.S. may exit Iran war soon as new attacks hit Gulf states and Iran. Nike turns around, put to the test as Middle East conflict poses new risks. Oracle begins layoffs affecting thousands. Probably why Oracle's up. Tesla Q1 deliveries likely to dip sequentially as EV demand softens. What else here? All right, looks like CrowdStrike. Benchmark initiates coverage with a buy rating at 500 target price. Okay. Sucks because I wanted to start a position in Palo Alto at 147 on the Friday's close, and then it bumped up, and I didn't get to add that or start a new position on that. That's what I wanted. That's that. Now, let's look at some breathies. Let's look at some breadth charts in these credit spreads. Let's look at the credit spreads right now. Let's see how the credit spreads are looking, because remember they rose. Let's just look at a year here. So they're still rising. So be careful of that here. All right, we got to be careful of that. See how they're at their high since last May 2025. If these keep going up, folks, that is the canary in the coal mine. That's not good for the markets. Okay? Breath. Let's do it. Let's start out with the S&P 500. Now, this is just percentage of stocks on buy signals. Okay, so looks like we had a little bounce yesterday, of course. Only a little one, 33%. Remember, this is the 500 stocks, okay? Let's go to NDX. Let's see how that fared yesterday. That went from about 30 to 32, okay? Now we drive a little deeper into technology sector itself. That got a bump from 20 to 22. Remember, I said these are a little oversold, right? Let's go to financials. That got a nice bump, 32%. Okay. I mean, let's just check out the NYSE. Let's just see what the NYSE has. Oh, NYSE is actually the stock exchange level is at a 41%. Okay. Now remember, S&P 500 moves on the 500 stocks, not on the exchange. Okay. And let's just go to the, what is that, 50? Oh, you're right here. Yep. All right, so we got a little lift there as well in the overall breadth. 24% of stocks now over their 50-day moving average. Let's check out the 20. All right, that's a little more. Now, obviously, the 20-day simple moving average is closer to price, so 35%. So that's a big jolt. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Now, we're going to go over to internals. Internals. Now, you can see why I was short here. I'll show you right here. And I was actually talking to one of my good friends in the community about execution style and like risk to reward and what to really do, because I have to be honest with you, a lot of my trades hit over 1R. and then sometimes I hit my break even, right? Like yesterday was over a 1R, and I actually halved my risk initially. No, I didn't half my risk. I made my stop wider because usually I do a 10 points in this volatility, and I would have hit 2 to 1. But this yesterday I hit more than a 1R, and I could have took one off because that's a pretty substantial move. And it seems that's been the pattern lately. And, sometimes I'm like, man, I could just take these 1R, 1.5 Rs and just be like killing it with a high win rate. So that I know that's a big controversy out there. Should I do 2 Rs? Should I do a 1 to 1? You know, um, you have to have a higher win rate with a 1R. But you could lose more with a 2R. But in a 2R, you don't get a lot of times if you do break evens, you get break evens or you get stopped more. But then that pays for 2 losses every time so everybody could do what they got to do. All right. I just know if I was to go back, a lot of my trades go over 1R initially and then maybe hit my break even or stop me out. And then it's like, wow, that was a nice excursion. Now you could scale out. There's a lot of things you can do, but that's just things we were talking about. Now, as far as the internals yesterday, these are all green, but right here, all right, see, I was able to catch this move. I literally had I think only 2 points of heat, and then I got that move. And then when it came back and we had a flat VWAP, at this point, it started to move back, and right there is when it was right on my entry where that news came out, and boom. So you could see the internals here were not strong until that news came out. Okay, and then it was just explosion. And what I did back here somewhere, because it was end of a quarter, and let me show you this price action. You know what that is? That's called short covering. When you're melting up like that, it's just like, ugh, ugh, ugh. There wasn't really like a big anything. It was just trending up, but like ugly. I scalped along somewhere in here. Only for like a half hour. So I was expecting a bigger push because the end of quarter, but you might have got it here. So that is your internals. Let's go to the daily charts. Now remember, I kept talking about those anchor VWAPs from 2025. Boy, oh boy. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. Unbelievable, right? Give me 1 second, folks. I gotta change something real quick. One second. Give me 1 second. I just gotta change one thing for my charts. I'll be right back. Almost done. Alrighty. Just give me one more sec here. Alright. Apologize for that. Let's get back to the show here. So this is our daily charts. Okay. Oh, some news just must have come out. Some news came out. Whoop. Market ain't liking it. All right, before we do that, I'm going to go right into my Discord. Let's see what that news is. I don't see anything yet. Let's see, you go here. I don't see anything there yet. Anybody else in the chat want to tell me what just happened? Because something happened. All right, I'm going to continue on the daily charts. We'll figure it out, but that's definitely something moving the markets right now. Okay. So anyway, big volume yesterday. You can see it. Look at that volume. Boom. Right off that 2025 anchor view up. Undercut it. There's last week's close. Boom. 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 About 50% retracement of last week's range. Okay, where are we now? 655.15. We're gapping up, folks. $5. We're $5 up in SPY, in the middle of this garbage. You can see this range, right? We're back in the middle of it, which is going to be tough trade. Okay, let's be honest. That's going to be a tough trade. So, futures. See how we're in the middle of this mess? And you have a daily supply right here. So let's mark that off. Okay. So this is a daily supply zone. Came into it, got a wick now, right? So be mindful of that. Daily supply, right? So that's a tough one to get through. First shot at it. Okay, that makes sense why we're getting some problems. Okay, you always want to know, ooh, that's going to cause some problems, right? You don't want to just get long in a daily supply zone. That's kind of dumb, right? So that's your ES, right? Now, let's look at, I'm trying to see where the month-to-date anchor view up was. Oh, we have a new one, so that doesn't matter now. Moving on. Qs. Let's go to those Qs. 2025 anchor view up. Last week's lows. Boom. Back into the middle of the range. Hit the 9 EMA daily. Okay. Where are we now? 582.70. All the way up here. All the way up into this balance area. Okay. Now the market's trying to push down a little bit right now. So let's see. We'll cover futures, and then I'm gonna see if that news popped out somewhere. Okay. So here's our future. Oh, that's not the futures. That's NVIDIA. Okay. Futures. Okay. Hit the 9 EMA daily. I'm sorry, that's not the 9 EMA daily. What is that? I'll forget about that. I'm not going to look at that measurement. But anyway, daily supply zone starts around 24279s. 24279s. We haven't really hit that yet. You do have a bearish fair value gap here, which precedes a supply, which makes sense. Okay. So that's where we're at. Understanding you're going to get some resistance here. Now, this market's turning here. Let's see. Crude. I'm trying to look at crude. All right. So there's some negative news floating around here. Let's try to find out what it is. Oh, here we are. Here we go. Iran's new regime president, much less radicalized and far more intelligent than his predecessors, has just asked the United States of America for a ceasefire. Why would that be a ceasefire? I guess the market doesn't like that. I mean, a ceasefire. Interesting. The market's, I guess, not liking that right now. So that's, you got to follow what the market's doing. Let's see if this put it out. Nope, that didn't put it out. So that right there is the news right now. So we're pulling back. Pulling back. Crude is over $100 a barrel. Okay. I just follow what price does. I can't have an opinion really and start to talk about what I think, because it doesn't matter what I think. Okay. So we're going to look now right at those hourly charts, get right into it. Boop. Look at that nice little bearish engulfing candle here. All right, back into a demand zone. Okay, let's go hourly charts analysis. Okay, so what the heck is going on here? All right, for some reason my marker doesn't want to. Give me a second, folks. For some reason that marker just didn't want to cooperate. Alrighty. So let's look at our market. Now, last 4 hours, inverse hammer. That is not bullish, that's bearish. Okay. So we just had some healthy movement though. Okay. Big demand zone here. It's not going to be easy to take that out unless the news catalyst is pretty strong. Okay. Now, what did we do yesterday? Remember I talked about this. Okay. I said you had all that poor structure. All you needed a catalyst to rally it. And look what we did. Went right up to where? The most traded price of the week now. Right? And then the market had some more ideas to get rid of this structure. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. Did it. So we don't have any poor structure left. Okay, so you came into supply, now we're selling into demand. So what it's about today is the 6570s. Got to stay bullish above the 6570s. Okay? That is the line in the sand. Because remember what I said, look at this. That's why there's a daily supply here. Look at all that overhead supply here. That's what the market's running into. Okay, so you always got to remember how the markets move. I go over this daily with my community, and it happens on all time frames. It's fractal. It's very efficient market. Whenever you have swift down moves, that would get taken back. Then that moves down, that gets taken back. You consolidate, whoop, that gets taken back. More poor structure, it's taken back. Now you're hitting not poor structure. You're hitting a bunch of consolidation. Market can't go higher. Now you have more consolidation here, right? Hence the demand zone. Hence the most traded price of the week, right? This should not be just boom. If it does, that's a news catalyst. That's market generated information, right? MGI. That's the market telling you, oh, I don't care about your demand zone. If it does this, yo, sellers are strong. Okay? But it should have problems here. Okay? That's why I'm saying we're probably going to range in between these areas today. Around the 65.70s to, the 66.40s probably. Now, right now, market's not liking it. Oil's back over $100 a barrel. All you got to do is follow what the market's telling us. I don't give a crap what you think, what you feel. I don't care your opinion on the war. It doesn't matter. We're here to talk about price action. Okay? I don't care about that stuff. Okay? And also we took out this equal high here. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to put another equal high now here. That's the overnight high now. Okay? So, same thing. Same thing. Aztec. Poor structure taken care of, all taken care of. We have no poor structure left. Okay? What did I say? You got this consolidation here. What did you run into? This consolidation. Look at the last 4 hours. We're getting an inverse hammer. Pretty bearish. Okay? That's how wild our markets are. So what do you need to see today in the NASDAQ? Let's get the level here. What you want to see is first test of support would be the two, it's called the 2, 3, 9, 5, 6s. That's in this big demand zone. Then the really level you want to make sure you have on your charts is a high volume node, composite high volume node from the past in the Nasdaq. It's 2, 3, 9. Happens to be the end of this supply zone. You just don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose it. Okay? 239. 239 is yesterday's close. 239 is pretty much the overnight lows and pretty much the highs of yesterday. So 239, write it down. Okay, so the range today could be 24240s to the 239s in the Nasdaq. Remember, all poor structure has been taken care of. Now, I didn't mention this in the ES, but look how we moved up here. What's here? A bullish fair value gap. That represents a pocket, an imbalance, where a weak market just does this, comes back and just goes boom, 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 eats right through it. But if it's supportive, it's bullish. That's how you have to look at it. Okay? It's never, oh, it has to get bought here. Never. Can't look at the markets like that. You always got to test it out. Let the market tell you, oh, okay, we're slowing down here in that demand zone. Oh, all right, it's supply. So I'm not going to go long in there because it doesn't make sense. Right? It's all about probabilities. And what I was talking about yesterday, all right, and I like I said, I'll take a break even for myself to reiterate to myself. Okay? To reiterate to myself is a lot of times I said this yesterday. I said when I wait usually and I want to, let's say, get short, like in here. Right? We had this in the SPY. You had this consolidation here, right? And I said, all right, that's like a 15-minute supply zone. We come back in here. I want to be short. And I literally got in like here, right? And then it did that. Boop. And then we had a flat VWAP, which generally means you're going to range for the day. But then that news came out, right? But then the news came out. And the point I'm going to make is what I've been doing lately, and I really like how I've been trading, is there's no negotiation with my trade. I am not getting in because I thought I wanted to get in. I am not getting in because I want to be long, but it didn't come down to what I wanted to, and I get in because I just can't take waiting. I'm waiting. And when the market comes to where I want it to come, I get in. Every time you get in, am I like, yes, this is amazing? No, have a little fear because you're like, I know this is where I want to get in. But when the risk makes sense, when I'm like, I've seen this before, this is my setup, this is where the risk makes the most sense, that's when I have to get in. Because I don't want to look back and I try to be cute. Oh, I don't know yet. Yeah, it is where I wanted to get in, but let me see more information, and then it drops. And then I'm like, great. Right? So, let's move on. Let's go to the market profile, line profile, and see what the heck this market's doing. All right? Now, we're still gapping up here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. So this is our market profile, volume profile. Beautiful way to look at the markets, in my opinion. You get to see all my levels here. Don't worry about these things, okay? Because this is yesterday's session right there. Okay, if I wanted to break it out, all it is 30-minute bars. That's yesterday's price action. And 30-minute bars, that's all it is. And then once you collapse it, it makes a market profile. That's all it is. It's not scary. Don't trust me. When I saw this somebody using something like this, I was like, I don't know what the heck that is. That thing looks crazy. What is that? It's not a candlestick. What is it? All right. But the beautiful thing about it is I can see yesterday's session and I can see the overnight separated. It's a beautiful thing to look at. Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. Now, today is an easy plan, and I'm loving it. And I'm loving we're getting this pullback. Really, really loving it. Okay? So let's get into long and short trade scenarios in the ES futures. Okay? Now, let's mark off some levels. Okay? Now, there's a notable here. 6640s. Currently, in the 24-hour chart that I'm in, is the most traded price of the month. Okay? That makes sense. Remember what I said? We're going into a daily supply zone, and I showed you guys the big consolidation that we just ran into? Well, yeah, that makes sense. 6640. That makes sense why we got rejected. Now, if I take my chart and I show you guys what's to the left of it, you'll see all that congestion. You see that? That's why that's the most traded price. Look at all that price action. That's why. All right. And the beauty of that is I have that automatically on my chart. I don't have to think about that. Okay. So that is why that is the most traded price. And it acts as a wall. Okay. 6640. Now, remember what I said, that could be our range today all the way down to 65.70, the most traded price of the week and yesterday. 65.70, the most traded price of the rolling week. 66.40, the most traded price of the rolling month. That could be our range today. Now, trust me, we're going to have scenarios here. So let's get into them. Okay, now, one other thing. Let's mark one level off that I want to pay attention to. The 50% retracement of yesterday's session is 65.15, lines up with a bullish fair value gap. Okay? So let's start off with the longs. Okay? We're in a major demand zone right now. 65.95 starts that major demand. We are in it. Okay? You have the 65.70s most traded price of the week. I said that's the line in the sand that the ES has to defend. So, what is my long scenario? Anywhere in this area. And as long as we hold the 65.70s, even if we go below it a little bit and come back over and retest the 65.70, I want to be long, targeting overnight highs and the most traded price of the month, 66.40s. Now, there is very heavy supply overhead here. That's why my target's 66.40. Remember, there's a daily supply zone there. So I know there's a lot of traffic. There's a roadblocks for me in my long there. Could it happen and punch through it? Not really without a news catalyst. Okay? Now, sneaky long. And we'd have to see how this market really responds. Now, what could also happen? Now, I want this. This is my number one. But a sneaky one is a quick push, a quick one. It has to be quick. Into 65.15. The 50% retracement of yesterday's session. And a bullish fair value gap. If you hold that, that is a long target 65.70s. And see if you get gravy on top of that, we can hold it to go higher. That's it. Okay? Now, as far as shorts. Okay? My first one. And I don't think this is, now again, with news. Okay? The short today is a little more difficult from what I'm seeing. Okay? What needs to happen is you need to cut through these demand zones. You need to cut through the most traded price of yesterday, of the week, I'm sorry, and yesterday. It actually is the most traded price yesterday. And yesterday's close. And you need to find acceptance. At least a couple 30-minute closes or hour closes down below 65.70. Now, if the market continually gets weak, yes, this could be the short of a retest on the backside of 65.70. And now, if the market gets weak, this is also single prints right here in this bullish fair value gap, that gets taken away. And you go back to 64.60. Now, that is probably my best bet. Now, we also, okay, could market open up, hold this demand in 65.70s, get a lift off, tap to 64.40s, which I do not think we just kill that. And let's just say it's quick. The market doesn't get a chance to really get that strong. Take out the overnight highs, but we come back inside the range. Put a lower high in, test 66.40s again. You will then target 65.70s. And then if you break that, maybe gravy on top, you fall farther. That's the scenarios in the ES. Let's move on to the NASDAQ. Okay, let's move on. Okay. We don't have the most traded price of the month in our vicinity right here. We don't. Okay. So we are gapping up. Now I didn't put the gap fill here. I should have did that in the ES. Okay. So let's get into scenarios for the NASDAQ futures. Long and short trade scenarios. All right, let's do it. Now what I'm going to do, break out the session. And we're going to mark off some levels. Okay. We already talked about it previously, but we're going to get into it. Okay. Gap fill 23974. But the monster level is the 239. That's the end, roughly the end of this major demand. Okay? You do not want to lose the 23900. That's a high volume node, composite high volume node from the past. Okay? You want to hold that if you're bullish. If we go below it, that is bearish and find acceptance. Okay? So we are in demand right now. Now, what did we do? Interesting. We failed. See, there's an unfilled gap here. Right at 24245. That's where the market stalled at. Okay? You fill the gap at 243. So that's an unfilled gap here. And you actually can take this supply out. Okay? Get rid of that. Okay? So, same scenarios that are going to start here in the NASDAQ. Now, one more level we're going to mark off. 50% retracement of yesterday in the NASDAQ. Inside these single prints here in the bullish fair value gap, 23676. So you're going to mark the 50% retracement off. Okay? And now we're ready to get into it. Let's do longs. So, remember, above 239, you're long. That's it. So, this is pulling back. So, what will I like to see? Let's go, even if we fill the gap, 2374s, you can get a long. Target overnight highs, try to fill that gap at a 243. Now, 239 gets a pullback. That's yesterday's close. Okay? Overnight lows is right there at the end of this demand zone. If you hold that and retest 239s, you go long, targeting overnight highs, 24245s, and then the 243 gap fill. The sneaky long is if you drop violently through 239s, and this time I'm not going to go back to the 50% retracement of yesterday. I have to go back to yesterday's most traded price, 238s. Then hold 239 and go for the long of the 243 gap fill. Okay? In this NASDAQ, retracement back to yesterday's midpoint is not for me like the ES. Okay? So, now we're going to move on to shorts. So, shorties. All right? Shorties. So, first one. I want 239 taken out. I want it captured. Look at that, like you're capturing your enemy's fort. Okay? And you want some acceptance, which is a couple 30-minute candles printing below, and you find acceptance. Then, retest 239s. Try to capture it. Fail. Retest 239s. Short it. You short it, and you hold on. Because if this market gets weak, that bullish for value gap, those single prints are going to get taken back, and you're going to go back to the 235s. The most traded price of the week, and maybe fall and take this poor structure out here at 23378. Okay? But you need a market to be weak. You need to find acceptance of the 239s to get that to work. Now, the other short is you're in demand. You could get a quick move up take out the overnight highs and fill the gap. But that gap, you're already in another supply zone. So what if you sweep that, go back inside the range, put a lower high in, there you target the 239s. That's a beautiful trade. And then see if you get gravy on top if you want to hold the runner. Okay, maybe do 237s. That's it, folks. I like today. Woo, I like those scenarios. Really like them. Smash the like button if you enjoy my analysis. Smash it. Okay, now, hopefully, you can join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market news, economic calendar, technical analysis. And I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios. Trust me on the levels I'm giving you. Trust me. Okay? Now, don't be crazy and go long a 239 when it touches it. Okay? Now, that's what I'm saying. I've been victim to that too. Oh, I said 239s, and as soon as it touches it, I'm on. And then you get stopped out. Everybody has a system. I'm just saying that's not how it works. The market always seems like it's going to do something. Oh, it just lost 239s. Oh my God, I got to get short now. And it's always usually a trap. So just be patient, okay? Be patient. All right? Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. Components Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Now, I always inviting a quant to come to my Discord, see, right, my pre-market scenarios that are usually on point. Okay? I've been really hitting. Now, you can see my performance from last week. 13 out of 14 scenarios hit. Okay? And what I am showing you that, and I had a weekly 11 plus 11.75 R last week. Okay? And that's a combination of my eval, my funded account. I have a personal account. So, like, sometimes I take trades in different accounts. Okay? Now, some of those scenarios, I didn't even get a chance to have a setup because sometimes they don't set up, right? They just work. And I'm not going to blindly go in them, but what my point is this: as long as you follow me in my Discord, as long as you listen to what I am saying, and you're like, hey, I'm just going to short, this guy's accurate, or you think of something that I don't know, a quant setting up a bot based on my scenarios or whatever, I welcome it all, because I'm not saying I'm the best trader in America. I know my TA is on point. I could tell you that. I am very confident into reading the market. And I'm not just talking about like weak TA. I'm talking about a detailed technical analysis, okay? So that's where you get that, right? Daily receipt every day, based on my scenarios, based on my trades. You get timestamps, right? So I'm giving you the timestamps of what I'm seeing, right? You get my gamma levels every day. Those are awesome. I don't know if any of my community members are in here, how you can say how these gamma flip points react. It is amazing. You get my weekly expected move indicator. 70% of the time, stocks trade in between those expected moves to the upside and the downside. Like I said, right now, Meta has hit its expected move to the upside. Okay? You get my pre-market scenarios, like I said, live market updates. And then I'm live. I usually go live, 9:15, 9:55, around that time. So come join me, all right? Come join. Now, everybody have a great day. Have a great day. Now, the ceasefire thing, I mean, I would have thought that might have been bullish, but who knows? I don't know. Okay? Now, everybody, remember, no trade's a trade. Hope everybody has a green day. And if you would like, come into my community today, my Discord. Join me and a couple of my community members, all right? Other than that, if I don't see you, I'll see you.